thank you to all the family and friends. Oh, can you hear me?
Okay, now you can hear me. Okay, I'll start again. I want to welcome and thank everyone, family and friends and SGI members for attending today's celebration of Ann's life. And I especially want to thank Ann's cousins, the Carlin family, Susan and her family, and John and Bonnie Wolf, and members of the Church of Religious Science, of which Ann was a member for many years and also a practitioner herself. Oh, and I forgot, Gwendolyn Gento, who was our caregiver, and she worked for us for 3 years, and I couldn't have done it without her, and she's not here today because she had to work. And then a group of folks who traveled a long distance with passports in hand from San Pedro, California. My brother, Ronnie, and his beautiful wife, and all my friends from San Pedro. So this is just a side note to my brother. Don't worry, I'm only going to talk for 30 minutes. So it's just a joke, it's a family joke, because he thinks I talk too much and too long. I have no idea where he get that. And then lastly, just a brief explanation how Ann became SGI member. So we met in 1989 at Angel's Attic Museum in Santa Monica. I was the weekend manager and she was a volunteer. And in 1999, she asked me to live with her, and I said yes, and then we were roommates for over 15 years. So I wanted to just give you a brief background of her, and it's from the World Tribune on March 19, 2010. So this will kind of describe her 107.5-year life. Ann was born on October 12, 1906, and was raised on a farm in Oklahoma. She isn't the first person in her family to blaze trails. Her forebears were among the pilgrims who traveled to Plymouth, Mass. on the Mayflower. Her great-great-great-grandfather, Josiah Bartlett, was a delegate to the Continental Congress of New Hampshire and the second to sign the Declaration of Independence in 1776 after John Hancock. Ann moved to California in 1929, 3 weeks before the crash. And through hard work and perseverance, she put herself through more than a decade of schooling and eventually pursued a career as a chiropractor. And you know what they thought about chiropractors in 1941? Not so much. She later became a physical therapist and in 1950 established a private practice. She retired in 1988 at the age of 81. After retirement, Ann traveled to various countries and volunteered for charity groups. She was the volunteer of the century. She volunteered for everything. Her secret to longevity was determination, independence, and a strong will. Ann is also known for her firm handshake. And she keeps physically fit by lifting up an empty paint can with rocks and then lifting the can's handle with her legs and arms, and you'll get more detail from Paula. And she lived in Westchester in her dream house, which overlooked the vast site that Howard Hughes built, the Spruce Goose. Okay, now I'm back. Now, all right. Now, how did Ann become an SGI member? Well, beginning of 2010, Ann was bleeding profusely from her nose, so I had to rush her to the hospital. And they decided to keep her in the hospital overnight. So, you know, when the nurse comes in and asks you all those questions, well, one of the questions was, what is your religious affiliation? Without a hesitation, she said, Buddhist. And I was really surprised. So, but I didn't say anything. And then the next day, when I was reading, and I thought she was asleep, I heard her say, loud and clear, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Well, you can just imagine how I'm happy because I didn't even ask her to say it. And I said, why did you say it? And she said, I wanted you to know I was still alive. So a few days later, I asked her, would you like to get the scroll, the Gohonzon? So she's kind of serious and thinking. And she said, why not? Well, of course, I can't believe my ears. I wasn't really sure, so I asked her 2 more times, and she said yes. So on February 28th, 2010, Anne became arguably, or I guess, the oldest person in the history of SGI USA to receive the scroll, the Gohonzon, at 103. And Danny Nagashima, that sent the letter, he gave her the scroll, and her handshake brought him to his knees. He was very impressed. And so on the end of 2010 and 2011, Anne again went back into the hospital. This time she went into a coma, and she wasn't expected to live. And everyone came to say their goodbyes, friends, family, SGI members. But she had a different idea. She came out of the coma, she was hungry, and she continued to live another 4 years. She was off and on hospice 3 times from 2011 to 2014. And on October 12th, 2013, we celebrated her 107th birthday at her favorite restaurant, the Coffee Company, with family and friends. 5 days later, we think she may have a slight stroke, and so she went back on hospice, and she remained in bed for the next 7 months. So on May 7th at 3:39, Anne peacefully passed away in her sleep, in her bed, in her house, pain-free. And that was always her wish. She donated her body to UCLA Medical Research, and when they picked her up, I said, they're gonna be so happy to get her, because how many times do you get 107 and a half, body? So 2 days later, they sent a message, and it's just a paragraph. It has been our privilege to have been the recipient of the gift of the body of Anna Bartlett for the purpose of advancing medical science and research. I speak for UCLA when I say we are grateful for this extraordinary donation. We hope you find it comforting to know during your recent time of grief that it is because of this charity that the legacy of Anna will continue to benefit humankind in the most unique way. And so I wanted to conclude with a message that she gave to the youth and the World Tribune and when she got the Gohonzon. She said, message to the youth is to never give up on your hopes and dreams. And now I hope I can get through this without crying. Okay, and she described the way she had lived her life through a passage by Ralph Waldo Emerson, which her father used to recite to her when she was a little girl. And it's the reward of a thing well done is to have done it. And I just wanted to end with President Ikeda. He's the president of the organization, from one of his books called Life, an Enigma, a Precious Jewel. We learn to treasure the life we are now living and to try to make it as worthwhile as possible. If we believe in our hearts, our present behavior creates and determines our future existences. We will strive to cultivate ourselves and to make the most of what each day offers. So thank you very much.